Hi guys. We are back with another Wasai story. No more nonsense. Let's get straight into it. That autumn, after that thing happened, I took on a job. What kind of a job was it? There was a family, and their daughter. Because of an argument with her parents, she just ran away from home. The girl is 27 this year. This 27-year-old girl, she wasn't married. The family was anxious, thinking they should quickly find a match for her, quickly marry her off. This person, when she went on blind dates, no matter how she tried, it just didn't work out. The family was quite anxious. This girl was working out of town. They said the family introduced a match, wanted her to come back and meet. So they kept calling her. So she returned to her hometown. After arriving at the hometown, after finishing the blind date process, the girl's parents were quite willing. But this woman, she wasn't very willing. She said no. Then her parents said, "How can you say no?" In the end, they had a fight. This girl, in a fit of rage, just ran away from home. When she left, she didn't take any communication devices. That is to say, her phone was left at home. After she ran out, the family started looking. They looked for about a day and couldn't find her. The family asked all of her friends. They asked the police. The police said it hadn't been 24 hours yet. For now, they couldn't open a case. They could only let them go look for her themselves first. Also, this person's speech and behavior had no problems, no mental issues. If she were abnormal, they could make an exception and go look with the family. Because of this regulation, they couldn't participate right now. They waited until the second night. On a national highway not far from them, there was a car accident. This accident was very serious. She was scraped by a concrete mixer truck. It directly dragged this person under the vehicle, crushed the upper body. This made identification extremely difficult. Simply couldn't identify. The person who was crushed was directly transferred to the funeral parlor. After reaching the funeral parlor, the police checked the body. No matter what, they couldn't find out. Because there were no IDs. Plus, it was all flattened. Identification was very difficult. No matter what, they didn't know who she was. And that family, after more than 24 hours, they called the police. And they posted this person's photo up there. The police, by verifying the clothes, concluded this person might be the one missing from this family. So they had them come over. Her mother recognized her at the first glance. She came up and threw herself down crying. On the outer side of this girl's left cuff, there was a birthmark. This birthmark looked like someone had pressed a handprint. A gray little birthmark like that, and she saw it. Just cried. At that time many people tried to persuade her. Her family also said the thing has already happened. There's no other way. The girl also had a brother. Her brother was 2 years younger than her. Her brothers said, "My sister is like this. We can't recognize her. If she goes to the other world, will she suffer? The person is flattened. Is it also bad when she goes down there?" He said find someone to do a restoration. In their local area, if you look for someone to do restoration, many people won't take this kind of job. This job must have the technique for sculpting. What is sculpting? Just making a fake body. Later they got in touch with my classmate. My classmate said, "I'm just one person. This job is not easy to do. I'll call one more person." Then that family agreed. So this classmate's call came to me. Because I live out of town. The distance to there wasn't too far. I said, "What's the matter?" He narrated the whole story of this matter to me once, and sent me a few pictures. I said, "This job isn't easy to do." Crushed by a heavy vehicle. He said she was crushed by a mixer truck. I said, "Did you discuss it well with them?" He said, "Discussed it well." I said, "This job, if the two of us operate it, it will take at least 2 days to possibly finish." I said, "Are their requirements strict?" He said, "Requirements are average, not particularly strict." I said, "Okay, then let's do this." So we discussed it with her family. Let the restorers come 2 days later. Early the next morning, I drove my car all the way from where I live to the funeral parlor, just waiting for that classmate. After my colleague arrived, the two of us together went to hand over with the leader of that unit. After the handover, we started to enter formal work. After I got into this room, this person, she was frozen in a constant temperature cabinet, packed in that plastic bag. Looking from the bag, the bottom part was bulging. There was stuff at the bottom, but those things on top basically had no smell at all. Once we pulled open that plastic bag, the scene inside was hard to accept. From the stomach down, there was stuff. From the stomach up, it was basically flat. And that spine and some skin tissues, just like a piece of wet clothes, slumping inside. At that time, once I saw it, my head hurt. I said, "How to do this?" After I got this person out, thought her a bit. Finally, the two of us discussed. You would peel off the outer skin tissues, the internal bone tissues and the inner muscle tissues. We put them separately in one position. Just take it apart from the middle. We make a fake sculpted body, similar to a fake model, or use some fillers, some simulated tissues like human bodies. For example, latex. After backfilling, cover it with her outer skin. Attach some of the tissues inside to it. On the outside, do restoration again. Just like making another fake body for her. Just like that, after the two of us finished discussing, we started operating. This classmate of mine, he did the peeling. At the very beginning, the two of us did the peeling together. Because doing peeling is a delicate job. Need to peel it out bit by bit, piece by piece. See which ones can be used, which ones cannot. During this peeling process, only the bone peeling was left. I went to measure the sizes. Started doing the sculpting. The operation room for sculpting and the operation room for restoration, they were not in the same room. It's separated by a wall. There is a door in the middle, and a window. I said to him, "You operate in this room. I go to that room." He said, "Okay, you go." After the two of us separated, when I was doing the sculpting and he was doing the peeling, when we separated it was almost night. After night, of course, I had to ask him if he wanted to eat. In this room where I was operating, I looked up and looked outside. When I got to this doorway, he was still bending his waist, lowering his head, still doing the peeling. At that time I was thinking, his technique has regressed a lot. How come he hasn't finished yet? We don't call names during work. So I went over, said a word to him. I said, "Still at it." And then he said, "Wait." After he finished answering this, I felt something was wrong. Why was it wrong? The sound he hummed out was very much like a woman lowering her voice. It was a bit like a male. That was the feeling it gave me. I stood on his left side, about 40 or 50 centimeters away from him. I just tapped him. He didn't move again. When I asked him, I didn't see what the situation was on the operation table. At that time I didn't think in that direction. I looked at his side profile. That guy was focused, eyes wide and round. Bloodshot eyes came out. Then he just kept staring at the work table. At this time, the moment I moved my eyes to the work table, I was shocked. He pieced out the person's face. He actually on this work table, on the peeled skin tissue. He was piecing together the person's 5 senses. I saw this and asked him. I said, "What are you doing?" But he didn't bother with me. Just kept doing the job in his hands, holding the thread, and a glass rod we use for peeling. The person was about to be pieced together by him. Have you seen the movie Painted Skin? Similar to that. He turned a piece of skin into a human-shaped map, and had sewn half the body. I said again, "What are you doing?" He still didn't bother with me. I saw this situation. I said this isn't right. I went up towards his forehead. I slapped him. Once I slapped his forehead, he got startled, and he reacted. He said, "Why did you hit me?" He came out with that line. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm doing the peeling." I said, "Look at it yourself again." After he lowered his head and took a look, he went AIYO. "What is this thing?" He said this. He gave a shiver. I said the mask was even shouted crooked by him. After he finished shouting, "What's the situation?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "I was just peeling, and then suddenly I felt my head hurt. I looked up and you were hitting me. We call this piecing the face phenomenon." I said, "You are piecing the face." He said, "I wasn't piecing the face." I said, "Where did you find this stuff?" He said, "I don't know either. Good thing I went there in time." The face he pieced wasn't complete. It was missing a mouth. The lips weren't pieced out. But the eyeballs, and the nose, they were pieced out. And 2 ears were pieced out too. Although not complete, those 2 eyeballs were flat. Our special trade has rules. This is the last thing you can piece. We call it sitting for the portrait. After he saw the situation clearly, I asked him, "Are you cold?" He said, "Not cold." I said, "Okay, good. You're not cold. Let's go." Back to the room. For now I put down his stuff. Took a cloth and covered her. Then work clothes all taken off. Going to eat. When we were eating I purposefully asked for some spicy stuff. I'm a person who doesn't eat spicy. I just let him eat. After we finished eating, I carried a bottle of white liquor and came back. At the door, I took the liquor, around the door, drew a circle on the ground. Lit a fire. It formed a circle of fire. Then opened the door. We 2 walked over together. This is a way to remove bad luck. At that time I looked at the clock. It was 11 p.m. I said to my classmate, "Let's swap. I'll do peeling. You go do sculpting." He said, "Okay." I said, "If you are afraid, let's move the sculpting table out. The 2 of us work in one room." He said, "No need for that." I disassembled the 5 senses he pieced earlier. Disassembled them. Then I started to take out things inside bit by bit. Took them out and placed them in other positions. Piecing bit by bit. Categorized and operated separately. Just like doing a puzzle. For her, Basically, the first step was considered finished. So I covered this up and went back to the room. When I got back to the room, I saw he was still doing it. We started doing it together. We were busy until 4 in the morning. Really couldn't hold on anymore. This kind of high-intensity concentrated work is very tiring. Head buzzing, eyeballs hurting. At the end my hands were shaking. Then I said to him, "Let's stop here for tonight. Let's put this person in the constant temperature cabinet. Go back and sleep for a while. Then do it when we get up tomorrow." The two of us went back. The unit's dorm was a bit simple. That door was still the old style. The two of us were in one room. Bunk beds. There was no one else in this room. A temporary set of bedding. Simple iron frame beds. I was on the top bunk. He was on the bottom. Took off clothes and went to sleep. After falling asleep, I was half awake. I heard a sound. Heard someone shouting, "Stand a bit to the side." I heard this phrase. Followed by what? "You stand well. Don't move. Come, I'll hit you." I heard it. It was intermittent. Always these few words repeating. "You stand a bit to the side. You stand well. Don't move. Come, I'll hit you." I heard this situation and woke up. After I woke up, I listened more carefully. Only then did I hear it was the classmate in the bottom bunk. He was talking in his sleep. I knocked on the bed board. He was still shouting there. I spoke to him. I said, "What are you talking about?" As soon as I finished this sentence, he answered right away. "What do you care what I'm saying?" Suddenly came out with this line. However, this sentence he said wasn't a man's voice. It was like a man pinching his throat. That kind of fake voice. I suddenly sat up. I listened carefully again. I heard it once more. "You stand well. I'll hit you." Still this sentence. I bent down and turned my head to look down at him. After I saw his state clearly, I was startled. Let me describe it to you. He was lying face down, butt in the air, head resting on hands, two hands holding the sides of ears. Similar to this, half kneeling in such a state. In his mouth, he kept repeating those few lines. Once I saw this situation, I secretly walked to my luggage. I had a bag with a gourd inside. The gourd was filled with some liquor. After taking one sip, I directly sprayed it on the floor. After that, I drew a circle on the ground. Just muttered 2 lines, then I went straight over. On this finger, I dipped some stuff. Directly tapped it on his forehead. Tapped once right on the top. After tapping, I gave him a knock. After knocking, I called his name. Called for about 4 or 5 times. He woke up. After he woke up, I asked him a question. "Are you back?" "Yeah." "You're back and you still don't open your eyes." He suddenly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, and cried out. Just called my name. I saw that woman. I said, "You let go first." After I pushed him away, I said, "What's the situation?" He said, "I had a dream. In this dream, I dreamed of a person. He told me to stand by the wall. He wanted to hit me once." I said, "I heard it." I said, "You said it all out." After I finished asking him this stuff, I directly went back to the studio. Arriving at the studio, I directly pulled this person out. Just pulled her out from that big drawer. I checked the whole thing once. Used some small methods and sorted it out. I just simply took a look. After looking, I said to her, "Tonight I will start fixing you. When I finish, I'll stop. If you act up again, I'll refine you." I just said that one sentence. In the room with her, I lit some things. After lighting the things, I started operating. The two of us kept operating. Until not quite 11 p.m. the next night, it was basically finished. Although it wasn't particularly satisfying, we tried our best. Made it into this state. Then her family notified the leader. Let them come to sign and receive. After the family members came, seeing this situation was okay, the family was quite satisfied. After I finished talking to them, I said, "How are you going to handle this person?" He said, "According to the situation on our side, she'll be directly cremated. Then you do what you need to do. We're going back too." It was the afternoon of the third day. They started cremating this from noon. The next day my classmate called me, said let me go to the hospital to see him. I took fruit to the hospital and found out it was just a cold, fever, basically like that. This classmate of mine resigned this year. Quit this line of work. Started a small business of his own. Not in the funeral industry anymore. I said, "You resigned. Don't you think it's a pity?" He said, "What's to be pity about? I've already done this for so many years." That's it for today's story. I'll see you in the next one.